Ah, you beat me.
Beat them.
I'm a scrub. Okay, I too am live.
Excellent.
Excellent. Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. And I swear to God, this whole streaming to both Twitch and YouTube with the same program is not good because it keeps forgetting the settings. I have to log in and out every time. There's got to be a better way, and there is a better way, but then you have to pay.
I was
So I
thinking
think I might scrap Streamlabs and go use OBS instead, maybe.
Well, would it be possible? Would it be possible to have both? Could you have OBS for YouTube and Streamlabs for Twitch? Would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. That works.
Because that's what I was thinking of doing. But then someone was like, you can have different profiles in OBS, so just do that. But then I tried the profile thing, and it kept on deleting Twitch chat every time I switched over to the YouTube one. So I was like,
yeah. Well, the thing I have is like two... For the program to show YouTube chat when I'm on YouTube and to show Twitch chat when I'm on Twitch, I need to be logged in to Twitch or YouTube, which means when I'm swapping between channels to go to, I have to log in and log out. And every time I do that, it forgets the settings I have. So right now I have to go into like, yes, I want to show time steps. Yes, I want better TTV, that sort of thing, you know? So a bunch of that stuff.
Hello, everyone, by the way. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, indeed. I should make a tweet.
Oh. Why don't you make a toot?
Toot.
Why don't you toot that you've gone live? Do a toot.
Toot, toot, toot.
Toot, toot. That's the sound that we are live. I was thinking, I need you to teach me the way, but I was thinking that I want to try and do a YouTube stream. So I went into Streamlabs and you've sent a squad invite, have you, Sapphire? Yeah. I won 5 days ago from the Oxcast. Decline.
Yeah.
Must have been for the played up thing.
Probably.
But I what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I made like alerts and stuff for YouTube, but I need to work out the best way for me to do, because I get confused. Like on OBS, when you sign into YouTube, it says like view. I can't remember exactly what it says, but there's a button next to start streaming, and I don't know what it does, and I'm scared to press it in case I go live without realizing.
Yeah, then maybe don't press it.
But it says something like view dashboard or something like that. So I don't know if there's, when you YouTube stream, do you get to like see how everything, because Trot was trying to explain this to me. He was like, oh yeah, it's really good because you can see this thing before you actually go live, and you can listen back to yourself. And I was like, I don't understand what this is, but thank you.
Well, I mean,
thank you for trying.
Dashboard, but there's a Twitch dashboard as well, so that's nothing new. Like that's the same. No, but I've had a good time streaming on YouTube in general. I think the system is pretty cool. I like the scheduling thing ahead of time. I like how as soon as it's done, it's like immediately saved and put up there, saved as a VOD. It doesn't go away. It's.
How does the scheduling work?
Well, you just schedule a stream. You go in and say like, make new stream, to set in the time. Bam. And you get to name it, you get to put a thumbnail on it, right? And then the people who subscribe to you will see that show up on their homepage, and it says like, coming up in 48 hours, and it's like automatically connected, like converted to their time zone. It's like Hitman stream from Meridian, and then you can click to notify if they want to get like a messenger, or they don't, they could just get there in time. And then when you decide to go live, you can then either just go live as a brand new stream or go live as the scheduled stream. So then you say, like,
see, that's what I was wondering about. Yeah. So do you, when you go into it, do you select like this is for this stream sort of thing?
Yes, exactly. So it's really handy, that word, honestly. What I also like is that on YouTube, you have like full control over like membership costs and tiers and stuff. You on Twitch, it's $5 for a sub, to $10 for tier 2, and like
25 or
for tier
ridiculous.
3.
Yeah.
Which those are set, those are existing things, and I think baseline, there's no real difference except extra emotes. I think, right? I think.
Yeah.
On YouTube, you design all of the tiers yourself, so you can go in and say like, I'm gonna have my first tier be, $2 basically. I think that's what.
Yeah, I set mine for like the cheapest I could do it because I was like, well, if people want to, and then I have one that's the same, but it's just like a little bit more if you feel like doing it.
Yeah.
I don't mind if you don't, though.
yeah, that definitely. It's like that sort of thing, and it goes all the way from like $2, the cheapest, to like $500, which is I think the most expensive one. Which I mean, like no sane person is just gonna subscribe for $500, but
depends what
it's there.
The rewards are.
That's true. What if they
you get to live in my house rent free for a year?
You get to live with me, yeah.
Hello, okay, well, that's a pretty good deal then.
Yeah, it's been solid, honestly. Yeah. So, but then you can also, it has inbuilt setups. It already has like inbuilt setups for members only type stuff. Like there are already members only videos, members only messages, and that sort of thing. And you can obviously customize your own perks and so on. And I thought that was pretty nice. I think that is cool for me to be able to set it up ahead of time.
Do you have any members content at the moment?
No. Well, technically, because it wouldn't let me make membership an option until I at least had a members only message. So I have a message that says, YouTube wouldn't let me make members unless I made this message, so here's her message. That's what the message says. And that's what currently all you get from being a member. I don't know how much I will end up doing, because the thing is though, I do like YouTube a lot, and after all I do have like a large channel with a lot of subscribers, though I suspect most of them are dead accounts or people who've stopped watching my stuff ages ago anyway. Yeah. But there is a large existing, following over there. And
yeah.
But for the last couple of years, I have been regularly streaming on Twitch, and that's where most of my people, are.
My people.
So I don't know, like, if it's wise to like try to swap over instantly or anything, because I don't want to like leave here necessarily. So, but then on the other hand, is it wise to do both? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Like, that's the thing as well. Are there cool emotes on YouTube? Well, it's the same emotes, basically. At the moment, since I only have, I think, 7 members on YouTube, I don't have as many emotes as I do on Twitch, obviously. That will come with more. It's the same system there. The more members you have, the more emotes you get available.
It's like, I don't know but it's like every 5 more you unlock 1 or something. I can't really remember the.
It's the same basic
numbers,
idea,
but yeah.
But I have had very positive experiences with YouTube streaming so far, actually. So I think that's pretty cool. There's also something, and this is semantics, right? But I prefer the word subscribe meaning something free, while membership is the stuff that costs money, versus in Twitch where you follow for free and subscribe for money. I don't know why, but I just feel like that makes more sense to me, the YouTube version. I don't know if that's anything.
I, funnily enough, prefer the Twitch version, because I'm like, they follow. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. They are following. Yeah. Whereas if you're actually like paying monthly, then you're subscribing to it, sort of thing. I guess it's whichever one.
Like old magazines and stuff. If you subscribe to magazine, I guess you were paying to a magazine if you're subscribing to a magazine.
Yeah.
What about newsletters and stuff? You subscribe to newsletters, you pay for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it's the same. Because if you subscribe to any monthly thing, that it does imply payment. I guess you're right. I guess it's just always obviously because YouTube has been subscribing being a thing for ages, like that, so they couldn't call a paid service subscription, obviously. So they called it membership, which is I like that too. That sort of at least like implies a bit of a club thing, you know.
Wizard said, "I think it's because Rydian comes from YouTube. You were born in YouTube." No, Rydian's from Sweden, not YouTube.
From YouTube. No, I mean, yeah, like that's where I started, so I used that from the very beginning, right?
Yeah, I guess it's like with Studio Ghibli films, if you watch them subbed the first time, you always watch them subbed. But if you saw it dubbed, then you watch it dubbed. Just
I think that's the thing in general, yeah.
Yeah. I do want to start trying to do more, but I know what you mean. It feels like I was saying the other day, I think to you, like when you start getting these things where you suddenly have to think like, oh, I need to do, like, I've got merch, I should tweet about it, and then I should put it on Instagram, and then I should do this, and then I should do this. And I'm like, I just wish everything was just in one place.
Yeah.
So when I do start thinking like, I should do this thing on Twitch, but then I should do this thing for YouTube, but I should put this on it, and I'm just like, why is this so complicated?
So much, it just gets so much work and so annoyingly much to do, you know? Like, which silly because this is comparatively a brilliant job and it's hard to find things to complain about. But point being, right, like the more hassle stuff like that, the less you feel like doing it. I just want to focus on doing fun stuff, and I sort of want everything else to sort of happen automatically almost, which is not how things work. But
yeah,
the thing for me is like I don't know if there's a ton of value in spreading yourself out, because I know for right now that, like, now granted I don't have a lot of members on YouTube yet because I literally am just started, but like most of them are people who are already subbed on Twitch, and I'm like, guys, you're now paying me twice. That's not what was intended, you know, like that's not the point, right?
Yeah, that's the thing I feel bad about. It's like the whole like Netflix now, Disney, blah blah blah, HBO. It feels like that, whereas I wish there could just be like one place that if people like my stuff, they can sign up to that, and then they get everything. Like I wish there wasn't this, so everything being split, and you know, well, if you want to see this, you better Twitch, but if you want to do this, you gotta. Yeah, I just wish it could be. Maybe I should just make a website.
What I was thinking is like, I mean, some people do Patreon, right? They just say like, okay, every extra special thing or whatever happens on Patreon. If you subscribe to Patreon, you get the special stuff. I then also have Twitch and YouTube and whatever, but you don't get anything from being subscribed there or whatever. Like that's, you know. So if you want to subscribe there, fine. I can't stop you. Well, I guess you can. So I think you can turn it off on YouTube. I don't even know. Can you turn it off on Twitch? I'm not sure. Maybe you can. But the point being,
subs?
Like, yeah, I don't know if you can.
No, I think Twitch want you to make money too much to let you turn anything off.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because then it's like, you know, I'll do my stuff on these platforms because that's an available platform for me to stream or put videos on or whatever. But if you actually want to support me and give money and maybe get some extra stuff or whatever, you go to the Patreon or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe, because that would be an option as well. Because otherwise, what I have right now is I'm doing YouTube stuff and I'm doing Twitch stuff, and like, what's the deal here? Am I trying to like catch two different audiences? And I'm going to be like, hey, on Mondays or Tuesdays or whatever, I'm reaching out for these people, but then on Wednesdays or whatever, I'm going for these people. Or because the last thing I want to do, and I've said this in the past, like whenever I'm looking for like, oh man, how do I get more successful? I don't want to push my existing audience for more money. I feel like that's a bit, that's not what I want. Like I already feel like the audience that I have are very kind to me already and are already supporting me. I don't want to be like, hey, you guys already supported me. How about giving me twice as much? Like that's not what I want, you know?
Yeah.
I would like more people to be in my audience. Like I'd rather have 1,000 people giving me $1 each than 200 people giving me $5 each, you know? So
I mean, I think for me it's more like I I wish I could just have. I'm gonna have to disconnect from Parsec. Sorry.
Okay.
Reconnect. I'd opened it on the wrong monitor and I couldn't close it. I wish I could just do more brand deals.
Yeah.
And then no one would have to pay.
Yeah, I think we mentioned
and I would just. Yeah.
My chat
if I
is
could
saying
just
like,
be like,
what if they're rich and we need an oil daddy? Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah.
Daddy.
Like as some sort of like rich, because that's what the word patron originally comes from. Back in the day when there were like medieval performers and so on, they got someone rich to pay for them. That was what they did.
King.
And they were their patron. Like they were the ones that gave them money. Like, oh, yes, you're very amusing. Here, have some money and then play for me at my wedding. Like bam, that sort of thing, right?
Oh my gosh, imagine if to be on Twitch you had to have like someone, like a rich person who paid for you to be there. And we're all just court jesters.
Yeah, instead what we have is like an audience that basically throw a little bit of cash in our hats that we put on the ground in front of us, upside down. And then when
we have a whole crowd of daddies.
Yeah, and they give us some money. Yeah, I mean, ideally brand deals would be best, obviously, but because that makes sense. It's companies doing stuff for advertising, which, yep, let's do that. And then the people who like my stuff can just like my stuff without having to feel like a pay. But because it's also a realistic life environment, for this to continue to be a viable way of living, I need some of the people who watch me to give me some money, because otherwise I can't continue. And that's weird. That's weird. To be like people watching my videos and having fun times, like, that's great, guys. So when are you giving me money? But I have to. Like, it's one of those things. Anyway, ultimately, like I've had a good time on YouTube, but I've also had a good time on Twitch. It's just, things have changed with Twitch recently. Our contract has changed, so it's slightly less. But part of it is like now we're allowed to stream on YouTube, which we weren't before, but our deals are slightly worse on Twitch, so therefore we're trying to look around. And multiple people in the Yogscast network are trying to do similar things and trying to find out different ways to continue doing this business, basically.
Yeah.
Speaking of, thank you, Mr. Bitatastic, for the subscribe. And
we have to
find something that works, really.
I feel like Twitch have I don't know, it just seems like an odd thing to at the same time be like, we're going to pay you less, but also you can now go work for our competitor instead. It's like, do you want us?
Well, so I think the original thing was the contract we had was like, hey, we think you're super valuable, so therefore we want to lock you down so that you can't go elsewhere. But in return, we're paying you this. And then now it's like, do whatever, I guess. They're like, well, okay, fine. We will do whatever. Which is now why you're seeing a bunch of people trying out YouTube.
Blue Cross, which is they're a UK animal charity, in chat have said, while you're both talking about this, I always wonder how hard it is for streamers to do charity streams, as you're basically asking for people to give to a cause and not for you for a set amount of time. And it's one of those things that, like, we all love doing Jingle Jam, and you just sort of accept, like, to other creators, I think they go, December, that's the big money month. Whereas for us, we're like, we know we're not going to make anything in December, but it's fine because we enjoy doing Jingle Jam.
It's really sad, actually, because every now and then, like, I get people asking me to do charity stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this seems like a great cause. I'd love to raise some money for it. But I also have to be realistic, right? If I go to my chat and go like, let's raise money, and they agree with me, stuff like, yeah, and we raise up X amount of money, like that would have goes to this charity, that's great. But to be realistic, that's money that could have gone to me, so that I could have, buy something extra for me this month, and make sure that my rent was paid in time and all the bills are, sorted out. Like, it's really horrible to think of it in that regard, but it's like money that I raise from my fans for charity is also money that could have gone to me instead. And that feels like a horrible position to be in, because I want to raise money for these charities, but also I have to make money for myself during like a month or whatever. And December is Jingle Jam is a big one. Jingle Jam is one of the best things the Yogscast does, and it's really cool and it's amazing and raised a lot of money, and I'm super proud of it and happy to do it. But yeah, December is the big money month, particularly in gaming and streaming and YouTube. Ad rates are higher than normal. People have more money. Like a lot of companies throw out more brand deals. They throw out generally that's a month to do your good stuff. I'm sure it hasn't bypassed a lot of people's notice that there's a lot of big streamers and YouTube video makers and so on who do all of their most and best stuff in December and then just flat out take January off. Because
in my mind, December is like the worst month because I always think everyone's buying Christmas presents, so no one wants to be spending money on stinky streamers. Well, so I've always thought, oh, it's fine. And it wasn't until I think maybe Potato or someone told me that it was like the best month for them. I was like, what? Wait,
like by far the best month. It can be like multiple other months combined. Basically, it's very large. It's also because people have more money. People get their Christmas bonuses. People at the end of their year's budget know what they have left over. People get money for Christmas and they feel like they can splash, do some entertaining, that sort of. There's multiple reasons for it, like where they may have a lot of money. And all the best, like all of the biggest games, not necessarily best games, but all the biggest games are usually released for the holiday period. That's when they want to get as many sales as possible, so they ramp up the marketing budget. So December is a big month to make money, and meanwhile, like for me, it's like I streamed less in December than any other stream because I spent the first 2 weeks in another country, and when I came home, some of the streams I wasn't streaming on my own channel. I was streaming on the Yogscast, focusing all the efforts and things on raising money for charity. And then I just needed some time my own to relax, and I was sick for a while. And then it was Christmas celebration, so like I didn't get a lot done in general, and that sucks because that means you've missed out on a bunch of money, really. So yeah. I
think going back to the charity thing, I've never really thought of it in those terms. Like for me, the limitation I feel, because I guess I'm in quite a privileged position where obviously we're in a 2-income household.
Yeah.
So that does alleviate some of the stress. But the only thing I feel with charity is I worry about asking too much of the community.
That's a separate thing, which I was also thinking of.
I'll always try and because I feel bad. Sometimes I get emails from charities being like, oh, can you do like this charity stream in this month? And I'm like, well, I have Jingle Jam, and then I want to give it a few months. Fion's birthday's in March, so I'll do another one in March for a bunny charity, and then I don't want to do another one for a few months until September, which is Jerry's birthday, and then it's Jingle Jam again. So you feel bad, like, I don't want to be like, okay, you gave for them last week, now give again, because people will give and they might not be able to.
Yeah, there's a lot of charities that I feel strongly about and would love to raise money for, and I have done in the past. Like I did some stuff for War Child and stuff, and that was great. Like a lot of really good charities. But there's only so much you can push your audience for as well, right? I like Jiggle Jam is the big deal, and that happens through December, and then I basically people need a couple of months to be able to get their economy back in order and maybe start getting some stuff left over that they feel comfortable maybe donating to charity again. So it wouldn't be until March, April later, whatever, then I'm like, all right, well now there's a possibility of doing something else maybe. And then the same type of thing where I honestly basically aim for one maybe a year and plus the Jiggle Jam. So there's 2. Could maybe fit in 3 depending on, but yeah.
And also things like I've had emails before from charities that do very amazing work, but in America, and I'm like, well, I can't really be like, this means a lot to me, because I'm not really connected to it. So I feel like you'd find someone better suited.
That's also something for me. It's a good charity, that seems like a big deal, but I don't necessarily know why I'm the best choice for this. I feel like something I'm more closely connected to, that I'm something I'm more passionate for. But because if I get something like, oh, this is, I don't know, cat rescue, whatever. Like, I don't have a cat, so like I wouldn't really like. While I want all the cats to be rescued or whatever, like it wouldn't mean a ton for me. Like there won't be a strong emotional connection to me in that regard, you know. So,
yeah. And I feel like people are more likely to want to get behind the fundraiser if you are connected to it as well. Like, if you can be like, look, this is the bunny I got from this rescue. This is what they do. And you've got this tangible thing that you can be like, look, that's her right there. I can poke her. you could make it so other people can poke bunnies. Yay!
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's basically it. Like, you having a stronger connection, a more direct thing is good for that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's a difficult question, and I think that's something that honestly a lot of people face to some degree or another. It's like, well, I have a lot of money. I have some money left over. Do I spend it all to charity? Because that would be for a good cause. Yeah, but you could also spend it on yourself, and that isn't necessarily a selfish thing. Like, it's important to take care of yourselves and, you know, make yourself feel good and happy. So yeah, you could spend that $500 you had, like, to donate to a charity, and that would be good. That would be great. But man, wouldn't it be great if you could get yourself a new stove that wasn't quite as broken or whatever? Like, there's always all these reasons to spend money on. It's hard, man. Money is required for everything, and there never quite seems to be enough of it, honestly.
Yeah. It do be like that.
It do be like that. Yeah. I always feel bad complaining about my job because I realize this is a dream job, and it feels silly to complain about it because it's great. But yeah, sometimes you're just sitting there going like, man, I wish I had more money. How do I get more money? Because there are different ways of, like, and I don't want to really encourage parasocial behavior. I don't want to be that person to say like, I will be your friend as long as you give me $50 a month, then we can pretend we're friends. Like, no, like, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to like fake a sort of intimate relationship with someone.
I really don't like when I see on Patreon one of the tier things being like direct messaging. I'm like, you shouldn't have to pay to access my personal time. That's weird. Or I think it's one of like the base things on.
Yeah. One of the things is like, you get a personal phone call with me, and I'm like,
wow, do you want your stomach to crawl out your asshole with awkwardness? Because then you can have a personal phone call with me just going, how's the weather?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. And it's like, and that just feels to me like you're playing into this of the parasocial thing of someone who desperately wants to feel like they're my friend, so we're gonna talk. And it's like, I mean, you're talking with them because you paid X money. Like, I don't know if that's the right way of thinking about it, you know? So, I don't know. On one way, I want to be like, that do you, man, you do you, and if people want to pay for it, that's fine. But I also don't necessarily think it's good. I think, I don't know if it's healthy.
It's a weird one, and I think because it's such a relatively new job. It's the boundaries haven't particularly been set. Maybe in a few years things will become a bit more solid and people will like know that like thing, but because it's sort of just exploded and then people do things in different ways, I think that's made it very like wish-washy, and the boundaries are a little bit is this okay? I'm constantly thinking like, is what I'm doing okay? And I rely on like Alex really to be like, because he'd just straight up be like, that's weird. I'm like, I thought it was. I think it's good to have a non-streamer
I mean,
tell you, because when you just talk to streamers,
talking with my family, whatever, and you know, I was talking to my brother who has a normal job, and he, just the idea that people donate money, he thinks is weird as hell. Like, wait, what? You're playing a game and people just give you money? What? Why? And I'm like, I don't know. People just do that sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
It's
my favorite one is my dad will go, how many followers do you have? And I'll be like, oh, about 14K. And he's like, why don't they all pay? And I'm like, I don't know, Dad.
I don't know.
Because they're bots, probably. Half of them don't exist.
Why don't they pay? I mean, yeah.
I'll go and make them.
It's a risk mitigation. There's a risk if we don't pay, you'll go away. That's not even just like a risk. That's true, and that's not like me putting pressure on people. But obviously, if I weren't making any money streaming, I wouldn't be doing it anywhere near as often. I might just maybe do it for fun, randomly. But if I didn't get enough money from multiple sources, brand deals, ads, but yes, also subscriptions and donations, I wouldn't be able to do it. It's like a physical thing, because fucking rent and groceries keep increasing in price. I have to pay. So yeah, like ultimately that's just the truth, right? I need money if I'm able to do that, and that's not something I necessarily want people to think of. Like I want people to come into my stream and have a good time and then just enjoy the game and have some bants, and that's it. And that's great. So, and then, but realistically, I need to get some money. Okay, fine. I don't want to go on and on about like, oh, but I need money either, though. But on the other hand, there's the thing of, there's a reason everyone always says like and subscribe in a video. It's just a simple like reminder, because a lot of people are happy to support someone they enjoy. Like I am. If I watch someone I think is giving me a lot of entertainment stuff, I'm happy like giving them a little bit of money to support what they're doing, because they're giving me, entertainment, and I'm having a good time watching or whatever. But sometimes the brain sort of needs a little bit of a reminder, like, oh yeah, sure, yeah. Like happens often. There's like a YouTube series I watch like every week, and sometimes I just even just a simple thing as clicking the like button, I just forget, and then I get a reminder in the video, and I'm like, okay, sure. Some people, the people joke about the whole like and subscribe thing, right? It works, and honestly, when someone says it to me, I'm not upset, because like, oh yeah. You got to do it because it works and it is actually helpful,
Yeah. Rubber Mallard was asking what are our thoughts on Cameo, because that is a strange one. That's why Dautos is on there.
Cameo, to me, it depends on what you're being asked to do, because sometimes a cameo is like, I just like, I find if it's a performance, it sort of makes sense, right?
Yeah, like I don't find it weird that wrestlers are on there, because they're a caricature. They're not them.
Like, I think the idea of someone's like, hey, Cameo, could you just say this and this and this? And I'm like, sure, yeah, like, fine. That's like someone like just asking me on Twitch right now, like, hey, Rythian, like, ding, 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 like small donation or subscribe. Could you say blah, blah, blah? Yeah, sure, I'll say it. That's just funny, I'll say a thing or whatever. But I think it would be different if someone like donated me on Cameo and it's like, oh man, you mean so much to me. I feel like we're so close. Could you please send me back a message saying how much you care about me? It's like, no, like that wouldn't be real. That wouldn't be me. That would be faking something that doesn't exist. But if you're like, oh, my brother has a birthday and has always watched you, can you send him a quick message saying happy birthday? Absolutely, I would. Like that I am on all for, right?
Yeah, because like my sister. My sister's always been, she's like really into running, and she does like marathons and stuff. And her husband got her a cameo from Mo Farah, just sort of saying like, happy birthday, keep up the running, you'll do great, sort of thing. And that was like really sweet for her, because he's obviously like a big icon to her. So she liked that. So those sorts of things, I'm like, that's nice. But you never want it to be like, they said my name. They know who I am. If I met them, I could be like, remember when you messaged me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sapphire, for my birthday, Sapphire got me a cameo from Daltos.
Mick Foley.
Which was weird.
Oh, and
he was very weird. He
course.
tried speaking Swedish, it didn't work so well. But mostly, she got me one from Mick Foley, which was really awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So, and that was nice. And that was basically just Sapphire's like, you know, I don't actually know what she asked him to basically, can I get a happy birthday message to a guy called Rythian? And then Mick Foley's like struggling trying to pronounce Rythian. Actually, he actually pronounced it correctly.
Rythian?
No, he actually said it correctly. It's like, which I can only assume is pronounced Rythian. I might be wrong, but anyway. And then he just like sung happy birthday, put on his mask, said hello with Mr. Socko. Like it was a whole thing, right? It was cool.
Yeah.
And I like that, right? And that's the stuff like, not that I think I'm Mick Foley, but like if someone is a fan of me or watching me, whatever, and someone would like, hey, here's some money, can you wish happy birthday to my friend X, or even to say something funny to me, like can you say a funny quote? Sure, yeah, absolutely. I'll
well, it's like that, right? With what is it called, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
When people just try and see like what's the
Make
worst thing this guy
things,
will say, and he's like, I'll say anything.
I'll say anything.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, there's you know, I mean, of course you know, but you know Xenos, Nina's lover. Basically,
yes.
Fan Fancy lover. His voice actor basically figured out that like, okay, people really like my voice and like making me say funny. So he went on Cameo, and oh boy, did he went full blown into it, and he must have made a ton of money because people just throw money at him. It's like, can you say this fun quote? And he's like, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, like that sort of thing, right?
Yeah,
it was great. It was great, and yeah, that's stuff I think that just feels like a fun interaction between a voice actor and their fans, and they're giving them some money so that he takes time out of his day and performs in a way, you know, or just says something, does something fun. That I think is cool. So in that sort of cases, I think it's things like a cameo is great, and it's just a really fun thing. But if you're paying £100, whatever, because some people charge a lot of money in Cameo, and you want them to say, I don't know, weird like emotional stuff, and that's, I imagine
it's
most
one of
people
those
put
things
limits
that like
to what they say on Cameo, but yeah.
I would want, like, if I had a message from Troy Baker, I want a message from Joel. I don't want a message from Troy Baker.
Yeah,
I'd want Joel to say something.
I think someone got Lydia a message from Roger Clark Duncan, the guy who played Arthur Morgan in an RDR, I think. So yeah, and then they want him to make the voice as Arthur rather than just, hey, I'm Roger Clark Duncan, I'm the voice actor. But it's more like, it's like, howdy, I heard you lost your horse or whatever. Like it's a whole difference, right? Like, I don't know. I think it. Like so many other things, and this is a boring answer, the answer is it depends, ultimately.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I wouldn't really want to do Cameo just because the idea of I can't think how to word this without it coming across self-depreciating. But
self-deprecating, yeah.
That's the one.
It's pretty. I mean,
I would find it weird.
I mean, you're right. It should be depreciate though, because it's appreciate, so it should be depreciate. But no, it's deprecate. Goddamn English. Anyway, go ahead.
But like, I would find it weird the thought that my time is worthy of their money. Like, I find that weird. It's like how I would never have like, you know, like I find it odd if it's like, when you pay to have a VIP dinner with someone or something like that. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think of myself in that way. Yeah. And like...
Yeah, I also don't think anyone should think of themselves that way. I think the entire idea of like, if you win this contest, you can win a dinner with Wayne Briony or whatever. Like, okay.
Yeah.
The guy's good at football and I'm impressed at how good he is, but why I would care like at that, you know, like, I don't know. I always found that weird entirely, because there are people who I'm like a fan of their work. I think that's pretty cool. Like, it's nice to like that, but I don't think I'd find much value in like a dinner with them to sit down and talk. Like, it's one thing if I was like literally an interview where like I am specifically there to ask questions and get answers. That's cool. Like, but like, you just get to spend time with someone. That feels weird to me.
If I gave you £500 and said you can have dinner with anyone famous, can't be a friend, who would you actually choose? Like, who would be your sit down to dinner with person? You get dessert as well.
Oh, I get dessert. Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe I was gonna say George R.R. Martin, but I feel like if
Where's the book, George?
Yeah,
Where's the book?
I think that's ultimately what it would become, and he'd just be annoyed at me. Maybe like Amy Hennig. I have so many questions about like Legacy of Kain and Uncharted, and they're like, that'd be, well, not that many Uncharted, but like there's questions about like, I think, but ultimately like I'm thinking of like what would be a good someone who has a lot of interesting things I can ask about to keep the conversation and just the experience itself fascinating.
Yeah.
I know deprecate and depreciate the different words, but why are they different words? basically don't need to be.
I think I would go for Jane Goodall.
The Woman in the Jungle.
Yeah. I loved her book so well. I think she's written more, but In the Shadow of Man, such a good book. I think I would have a lot to talk to her about.
Yeah.
I just find her amazing. Like, I'm just like, how did you... Because it not only the things that she did, but in the day and age that she did them as well. I'm just like, you are at icon. It's amazing.
But I think,
oh my gosh, imagine if David Attenborough was on Cameo. It'd make so much money.
I think ultimately I would pick some sort of creative personality and just ask questions. Neil Gaiman wouldn't be a bad shout. I think I've read a lot of Neil Gaiman stuff, and I think he seems like an interesting person. So if he was interested in answering questions, because there's no guarantee that they are. Like it's time for dinner. They just like, They just eat their stuff and then leave. Like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that'd be cool.
Alternatively, you could choose someone who you really hate and then stand them up to make them feel sad.
I don't know if that's
Piers Morgan.
Worth the money, but yeah.
Piers Morgan, and I'd steal all his chips, and I wouldn't even apologize. No, even then I couldn't.
Oh no, you're too nice.
Couldn't do it.
As Blum says, I had a situation like this the other night. I was about to go to a concert, but I knew the band was probably in town, and I thought they would go to the local museum. But I didn't go because it felt like I was a bit of a stalker if I did it. And what would I even say? Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I keep thinking when I keep it, but every now and then I was like, what would I do if I just ran into a person at random? You know, would I be like, hi, oh my god, hello, autograph selfie, let's talk, or would I more realistically just be like, wave, hi, I recognize you, I like your stuff, I'm not gonna bother you. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's like when you see on the subreddit people being like, I'm visiting Bristol. Like, what do I do if I see? And I guess various people don't want to be approached.
Yeah.
I'm always happy for people to come and say hello. You'll regret it because it'll be awkward for you, but you can try.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, this is the thing. Like, for me, if someone were to come up to you, I wouldn't mind if someone said like, oh, nice to meet you, hi, and then move on. But I don't think I would want to have like literally at one point in Bristol, I was waiting for an Uber to take me home, and some guys walked past, stopped, turned around, and said, "You're Rythian, aren't you?" And then basically like, "Oh yeah, hello, hi." To be fair, like at that point, I was literally outside York Tower, so you know it's not hard to at that point guess and recognize me.
Yeah.
But like that's one of the first times it's ever happened to me, and I was like, that was a fairly short conversation, mostly like, you know, hi, cool, nice to see you, and then bye, basically. Versus because the idea of like, if I'm just out in the store going to buy some groceries and some dude comes up to me and starts talking to me about like, I always meant to ask you in episode 18 of Blackrock Chronicles, why was the deal with like, oh, bro, I just want to get my food and go home, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. When we first moved to our area, there was someone on the subreddit was like, "Oh, Alex and Briony have started going to the shop that I work in."
I remember reading that thread, yeah.
And I still go to that. It's still my local shop, and I was there. Like now, every time I do something embarrassing in that shop, I'm like, did they see that? Like I was there last night, and instead of getting dressed, I had put my trousers on over my pajamas, and I was at the till, and I looked down, and my pajamas had poked out the bottom of my trousers, and I was like, everyone knows I'm in my gym jams. And I was like, are they here? Is there going to be a subreddit one day, just like
Lamau, I saw.
You'll never guess
Briony's
what Briony's like.
I have to believe that most people are pretty chill and normal about stuff, right? So I don't worry too much. But there is, if you get enough people, there's always gonna end up being one weird one, and that happens.
And if there's not, it means it's you.
Yeah, exactly. 1 out of 10 people are weird. I'm not weird.
There's no weirdos on this bus. Oh no.
Yeah.
But I guess living in Bristol, it does makes you think. Could there be
the part of the thing, right, is that Bristol is so very well known to be like the Yogscast city, right? Or I mean, I'm very well known, at least among fans, right? So I'd imagine it's more common there. Meanwhile, I'm just the one guy in Malmö, and I mostly stick to where I live, and it's a fairly big city anyway. So, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm sure some people have recognized me at some point, but no one's really come up and said anything.
I got recognized at a gig once, but then the flip side to that, I knew that someone from my community was going to be at a gig. So I purposely asked them for their favorite color so I could give them a worm if I bumped into them.
Aww.
I gave them a worm on a string. Yeah. And one for their husband, who they were at the gig with.
That's lovely.
So I'm the weirdo, really.
Which is fine. People are allowed to be weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm harmless.
This whole weird low-level e-celebrity life is strange because I don't feel like we really are celebrities, like a proper celebrity. But on the other hand, you also have to recognize that there is a degree of that, a small degree, but a little bit. Like, people do pay us money to play games on the internet. People are excited to meet us and that sort of thing. So yeah, kinda.
I wonder if you get, maybe this is more likely to occur if you are a whammon, but I always have to, there's times when I'll be talking to family and they're like, so what do you do? And as soon as you say videos,
I make
and
videos
internet,
online.
You have to be like, no, not that thing you've heard about.
Not like that.
At your church group, a different thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's another thing. I don't necessarily want this to be a big conversation because it's...
Because you're bored of me.
No. But because it's a lot of people can get weird about it. But like, obviously, there are people who have OnlyFans and stuff, and like how I think, be it fairly or unfairly, people are looked at differently when they do that sort of stuff and when they don't, right? And that is most of the time, not exclusively, but most of the time, that is an area where it's pretty much only for women. Like, no, it isn't only at all, but mostly.
Yeah,
you know?
It tends to be if people are saying it to a guy, they're saying it like a ho jokey sort of way,
exactly,
rather than
like. And there's also this sort of situation where, like, if someone were to come up to a female streamer and say, like, you should make an OnlyFans, that's like a ban. That's like immediately a ban, because that feels like a creepy thing to say, right? I would say probably.
I mean, I've never been asked before, and quite frankly, I'm offended. I'm offended. I'm offended.
I think
Why
you
are
would
none
have
of you asking me where
I
my
think you would
OnlyFans?
have a great
Ask me.
OnlyFans, Briony, personally.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, there you go. But then some people do make OnlyFans, right? And then, and I think to some people that changes how they look at that streamer and the person, because it's a different thing that they do, and that I think can't help. I can't imagine that helps with the worries of parasocial interaction in general, you know? Only bunnies, pictures of naked worms on a string, and they're already not wearing anything, let's be honest. The hussies,
I want
those
there
worms.
to be... I've decided I want there to be a version of OnlyFans. Maybe I'll start it, but it's just going to be called something like Cozy Fans or something. And it's just me in like an Oodie. No, that'd be too much. I'll start off in just like nice gym jams, nice flannel gym jams, and the more people pay, the more cozy I'll get. Top tier will be putting on an Oodie, maybe with a little bit more to get myself a hot chockey. And people will be like, yeah, go on, put on another layer. Like, oh yeah, I will. Sit by the fire. Okay.
So this actually raises another interesting thing. The ironic sexification, or the anti-sexification, which you get where people do like, I'm also gonna make an OnlyFans, lol, and the pictures are just gonna be normal, lol, and it's like,
it's actual pictures of fans cooling people down.
Ironic, you know, like that's weird. Like, I feel like inherently there's some. I think that's something else entirely to think of. Like that's like then like a stage of defensiveness already.
You've got the whole thing about how, like, especially when famous people make. Like even more famous than we are.
Even more than us?
When proper famous people make joke OnlyFans, and it's like, well, you're just taking money away from people who this is their work. It's like how it's annoying when, you know, you get some famous person who's like, oh yeah, I'm going to start streaming on Twitch, and they put in hardly any effort, but of course they immediately get, you know, thousands of subs and stuff, and you're like, well, what about the creators who sort of rely on this as a I think it's the same for sex workers, like people who is what they do, and then you get some chump coming along being like, I can't remember who the actor was that did it, but they got a lot of flack for it.
I don't remember that one, but like I do remember in terms of streaming, like there was particularly like
go on, name names. Let's start some fighting.
What's her name? Thea Trinidad, Selena Vega, her, and I think Paige or Sarah Knight. They streamed, and most of their streams was just sitting at a counter, basically doing like a subathon thing. If you keep giving money, we'll keep streaming. And I mean, they were just flowing in immense amount of money. They were just basically sitting there talking to the camera. Who would just do that? Who would just sit and talk? Like, I would never spend a long time just talking on the stream. That was crazy. So their thing, and the sheer amount of money that was going to them, and you know, they're like, and I'm not saying that's bad, because ultimately, what it all comes down to is people can do what they want and people can pay for what they want. If people felt like they should pay for that and they were getting value from that, that's fine.
Yeah, that is true.
But there's a level of parasocial interaction there as well. Like, a lot of people maybe aren't in their best state of mind to decide what they should spend with their money. And I think a lot of people prey on that to get rich. And I think that's kind of a shame. But ultimately, I also, again, reversing my own butt before, who am I to make that decision?
Turn that butt around.
That butt's getting reversed. Who am I to make that decision for someone else, right?
Yeah, that's the sound alert.
Turn that butt around, yeah.
That butt's getting reversed. How much would I have to pay for that on Cameo?
I mean, probably a lot, yeah. It's weird. It's weird. The whole system of like, how much of yourself do you offer up for money, you know? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's a tough one. It's also like, I mean, OnlyFans is a strange one because, like, it's one of those things that I'm very much like, I support anyone that I know who does it. I'm just like, you go. But then I'm also very much like, not old-fashioned, but sort of old-fashioned in that, you know, there's obviously, and this is a very like me personal thing. I don't judge anyone else for how they feel about it. But for me, I sort of, you know, I signed a certificate to say I'm only going to see one person naked for the rest of my life, and I'm cool with that. Like, that's how I want to be.
Yeah.
So for them, I'm sort of like cheering from the sidelines, like, you go, do your thing, but I'm looking the other way.
Yeah.
But you go.
I can see that. And to me, it's like, do what you want to do. Like, do what you want to do, and if this is how you make your money, and if you feel comfortable sharing yourself like that, I think no one else has the right to say that you can't do it. But on the flip side, you also aren't allowed to tell other people how they should feel about it, you know? Like, if you want to show off your booty and your butt and your boobies online,
your booty
absolutely.
and your butt,
go for both booty and butt. If you want to, then absolutely go for it, and I support your right to do it as much as possible.
Yeah.
But you are not allowed to say that people who don't like that are wrong all of a sudden. Like, people are allowed to have opinion. Like, as long as they don't mistreat you or speak badly about you or give you shit for it, they're allowed to not like it, because not everyone wants to connect. You know how there's only two moods. There's there's normal mood and there's sex mood. Like, there's two different moods.
There's
Gaming
no
mood
in
and sexy
between.
mood. Yeah, those are the only two moods. Some people don't want to mix those things together. So some people are like, oh man, I really like this streamer and I like watching them stream. They might not want to have that connected to, I also can see their titties if I give them $10. You know, that's maybe a different, something they might not want to do. And I think that's fair. I think you should be allowed to want to separate that. I think you take it too far if you start then screaming and being angry about it and you know, insulting them or whatever. That's not cool. But you're also allowed to have a different feeling, different senses about it if you want.
I have a friend who I follow on Instagram. We've been friends for years, but then they started doing like adult entertainment as their main source of income, and then the Instagram became like personal but also about their work. And now I'm sort of like, I want to keep following you because I'm proud of you and you're doing what you want to do, and you go get it. But also when I'm scrolling and I'm just like, you know,
here's some nice
like
food,
bunny,
here's some bunny stuff,
dog,
here's titties,
food. Yeah, just doggy stuff. Wait, what? Sorry, what? What was that? What was that last one?
Yeah,
I'm just like, sometimes I'm looking on the bus.
Yes,
but I'm also like, proud of you.
Yeah, it's a complicated situation.
So I don't want to unfollow
honestly,
and seem like I'm not supportive, but I just like seeing bunnies and vegan food.
Yeah, well, it's like. I don't blame anyone for making their money where they can. The economy is in a shambles. Everyone needs to make money from somewhere. And, I mean, if I were a hot chick, who's to say I wouldn't do it myself? Maybe I would. I don't know. Like, I'm too different from that to even start looking at that as, like, what would I do? It's too hypothetical at the moment.
Making money, just if you want to do it, even if you're not doing it to make money.
Sure, yeah. Like, there's tons of people who post stuff for free because they find that exciting and it makes them feel good, makes them feel happy about themselves and that sort of thing. And as one of the things as well, like there was something like, oh man, you're mad that people comment on your boobs in a normal picture, but then you're happy to post your boobs. It's different. It's different when you yourself and posting it because you made the decision, you posted it. It's all about context and consent. It's different when you decide to do it for your own sake, and then people can be
so you like me watching you on Twitch, but I watch you through your window and it's weird all of a sudden?
Exactly.
Like, what's the difference?
That's literally it. That's like exactly what it is. Thank you, by the way, Rofus, for subscribing. It's a whole thing, honestly. And honestly, this is not an easy conversation to reach a normal ending for. Like, ultimately, I think we all have to make our
so
decision
much gray
ourselves.
area.
There's so much gray area at what we're happy with and what we're not happy with. And I think ultimately you just have to find that yourselves. Like, you find something that you're happy with. Like, if you have close friends who you know, like, post pictures of themselves on the internet that maybe makes you feel a little bit weird or whatever, like, that's okay. You're allowed to feel weird about it. I think if you're a good enough person, you can still support your friend and be happy that they're doing what they want to do, and that's great. It's mostly just important that you don't make anyone feel bad just because you may not feel super comfortable about it, because it's optional. You don't have to go to their OnlyFans and watch all their pictures. It's a little bit weird if in your case, like, it's someone's Instagram who you follow because, like, they used to post cute pictures of their dog, and now you're getting very spicy stuff all of a sudden thrown in your face. Like, that's fair enough. That could be a shock, but yeah.
That's not a cat.
Yeah, that's a different sort of kitty. I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Long rambling conversation, went kind of all over the place, but it's good. It's good to talk about this sort of stuff, I think, eventually.
Yeah, because I think, like, I can appreciate how it can be strange for people if you find out that there's a creator you like and you watch them in a certain way, and then you find out that they have this other stuff and you're like, oh, it's like, I guess that can be like when the Mandalorian takes his helmet off and there's a man under there and you're like, no, put it back on, I don't like it.
but it does, like, it does change the way you look at someone. And I think I think ultimately the other way of going around it as well, which I think I see as a common statement this day, is like, if at any point that changes your feeling something, oh, that means you hate women, you are an incel, anti-sex or whatever. It's like, no, that's not at all necessarily true at all. Just people are allowed to maybe to feel different about it, feel weird about it, and go like, that's strange. And maybe now watching you play a fun game isn't the same because I have seen you do a bunch of other stuff, you know? Maybe that has changed your experience with someone. And I think pretending that anyone who has this sort of feeling is now suddenly a horrible person and like, you were never a fan anyway and you should always... That's not how the real world works. Like, someone... As long as someone isn't mean and offensive and insulting and like hostile about it, it is in everyone's 100% right to feel like their feelings about someone has changed if they do something. And it doesn't have to be OnlyFans, it could be literally anything else, like political opinions, religious opinions, like anything. You are allowed to feel different about someone. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. And if you watch someone because you thought they made funny videos on the internet and you then find out like they do adult entertainment on the side, you're allowed to feel like that entire experience has changed. It doesn't mean you're a bad person because of that. As long as you don't treat them badly.
I think again, this just goes into the whole how much gray area there is on... I mean, there's gray area in everything, but in content creator stuff, there's still just a lot of... Everything is confusing. And I think it's all just about setting your own boundaries.
Dak Rachel's a good point that says, like, a big problem of this is with the current society of it's where everything is black and white. You have to 100% be on one side or you are automatically a horrible person that becomes an enemy. Like, trust me, I don't want to talk about this at all because Jesus Christ is a minefield, but the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing, right? The entire thing of like, if you have any positive feelings about the game or any curiosity or anything, that means you are now a horrible person that are against all trans people. And it's not that simple. It just isn't. The way I
don't like people being angry and saying just being very... But I guess like the perspective I have on stuff is, I'm going to bang on about being a vegan again. But as someone who's been vegan for like the last 6 or 7 years and has the minefield of ethical consumerism every single day in everything you do, where I'm like, can I buy this ice cream? Well, this ice cream is owned by Ben and Jerry's, but then they were bought by Unilever, who are a bad company, and just all of that stuff. Just seeing everyone else suddenly entering into this world, and you're just like, welcome in, everyone. This is how I live. This is where the shit goes, and this is where the fire goes. Choose your side. Like,
it's the
it's just
James Franco in the news first time to the friend, basically, because like, to me there seems to be a lot of similarities there. How a lot of people who are very like anti J.K. Rowling and very like positive for trans people and so on, and they're like, wait, what? But I told people not to do it because it's bad, and people are still playing this game. Why would they? And that must feel a little bit like a lot of vegan people who are like, we've seen there's been all these documentaries, they know things are bad. When it comes down to it, they still go and grab a burger after everything. Like, how can you not, I understand that. Like, I definitely understand that. And in the case of Hogwarts Legacy, is one of those things as well, right? Where like, there's so many arguments for why you shouldn't do it, and for me personally, I know enough trans people that don't want me to do it because they think I shouldn't, and to me that is an easy enough sacrifice to do to do that for the sake of my friends. Absolutely. So why would I? I'm not gonna do that.
Especially when there's like, I already have 1,000 games on my Steam list. Like if I can
the millions
not
of possible
do
ways of all the great games, to give up on this one game, that's such a small sacrifice to do.
At all.
Like, it's not even a sacrifice. Yeah, that's something I will happily do to make it. But does that mean I want everyone to hunt down and scream at, harass, and block like everyone who plays it? Not really either. Like, I can understand where that anger is coming from, absolutely. But I don't know. Like, it's a difficult situation. I just wish, again.
And I know that Twitter is not the forum for talking, but I just wish people would talk instead of
shouting.
You're doing this, well, you're evil. And you're like, no, but I don't know.
It's not that simple.
Yeah,
it's like reductive. Like, I understand, and generally, like, if someone plays it or does it or whatever, and I imagine it's like you for a vegan. Like, if you see someone eating meat, you're like, I wish you didn't do that because I wish no one did that, and that's a shame. But you also don't think everyone who does is inherently a horrible person.
I do. I just don't say it. I'm joking.
Well, I mean, I can imagine, and honestly, I struggle with this a lot of time because basically I feel like I'm constantly failing morally because I basically agree with everything, and I basically feel like I agree with all the things, yet I still don't do it. So this clearly doing something wrong. But in the case of this, is like, you can see that a lot of people are maybe doing something that you don't think is moral, but that doesn't necessarily mean they inherently is an immoral person. And in the same way, someone playing this game, I think that is probably a bad thing to do. Like, of all the things you're being asked to give up, this seems like such a small thing to not do for the sake of showing support and not supporting this thing. That seems like a small thing to do. So the fact that you are doing it is a little bit disappointing, I think. But does that mean they are inherently a truly horrible person, like a transphobe, and like I bet they're voting, against their? No, I don't think so either. But
I think there's a lot of
Twitter with the screaming, middle ground is so hard to find, and that's the issue, I guess.
There's a lot of ignorance as well. I think people might just not realize the implications of their actions. They think like, oh, it's just this. Oh, no, it's fine. No one's getting hurt. Blah, blah, blah. And they don't realize that it's like a butterfly effect, isn't it? The thing, you have to vote with your money a lot of the time. And the things that you're...
And in the case of streamers as well, you have to decide what you platform. Like, and a lot of people make this mistake of like, lol, like people wouldn't know about Harry Potter unless I stream. Well, it's not really the point, though, is it? Like, that's just because it's already big doesn't mean you add to it. Like and then there's this is such a difficult subject to reach because there's no easy answers. But this, like you said about veganism, like the ethics of capitalism. How can you be ethical? You can't really. Not
it's like
100%.
when people say, "Oh, you're vegan, but you have a mobile phone." Ha ha ha!
Yeah.
I win, and I'm like, "Yeah, but dude, it's about trying, and I'm trying my best." And
exactly.
yes, I participate in society. Yes,
somewhat,
but
yes,
you have to. Like, it's just
listen. Like using Amazon and using Twitch is one thing, and using Twitter. They are incredibly, massively important parts. Like Amazon sells like everything and runs everything. Twitch is a huge part of people's entertainment. Twitter is like one of the most used socially connected messaging services in the world. I think using them is not the same thing as deciding to I have to play this one game.
Yeah,
that's not
like the way
that's
I see
a false
it,
equivalency.
I'm not fussed about playing the game anyway, to be honest. It's not my sort of thing.
I'm not really a huge Harry Potter fan, so I don't. It's a bad example.
But
on me,
the way I see it, even if there was a game that I really, 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 really wanted to play, if the thought of like making one, not even one like trans person, maybe someone who knows someone, maybe just making them feel more comfortable in a community that I am trying to make a welcoming place, then I forgot how I started the sentence, so I don't know how to end it. But if that makes one more person feel comfortable, me not playing a game, then I'm just like, well, yeah, of course I'm not going to play it. Like it's no big deal to me. I'm like, okay,
that's how fine. I look at it as well. And it's like, you know, the whole like I know there's at least one, maybe two people who like during the whole Blizzard thing, like when Blizzard was having all their scandals and stuff. One point I played Hearthstone, and someone came in and said like, really disappointed to see you playing Blizzard games, and then basically I don't think I'll be watching you anymore. And I'm like, wow, that sucks, I guess. And yeah, that's fair. You're allowed to have that opinion. I was playing like a free to play Hearthstone mode. I didn't give them any money, like, but I played it, and to some people like that's too much. You played
advertising,
Blizzard stuff, which your time. Like it was after it had happened, but they were like, well, yeah, it's a thing. And I understand that feeling, but to me, it's like Blizzard has made a lot of games, and there's meant a lot of me throughout the days. I don't think me personally playing that game is massive, like in that regard, because it's huge, and I don't like mistreatment at the place where they have now gotten rid of a lot of those people who did those things isn't the same thing as me supporting them. So I wasn't giving them any money or whatever and that sort of thing. But I see where they came from. And honestly, through a bunch of other reasons recently, I've stopped playing Blizzard games. And it's not just because there was like a bunch of scandals and a lot of them were like bad, but that definitely added to it. Like there was this thing of like, when it's time for me to pick games to play, that becomes part of the things I consider when to do it. Like if World of Warcraft 2 comes out tomorrow, I probably would play it. I probably would. But at the time, like the games were not that great, such a fantastic thing that was like must not miss, that it was worth my time. And ultimately that's what it went.
You'll all be pleased to know, though, that because of recent events, I have grilled Alistair, and I am very safe in continuing to play that. He's a good guy. He's an ill boy at the moment. He's very ill in bed for the last few days, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So I think I do manage to avoid a lot of this stuff just by the fact that I do play more indie games than AAA games, because I feel like
you're
every
not 100%
AAA game
safe from it either, because every now and then you hear a story of some horrible person who made an indie game, you know, like that's ultimately, I feel like people use this as an excuse too much. People say like, well, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and like, no, you're right, there isn't.
But you can still try and do your best.
Yes, ultimately you can try to do your best. I think that is the major difference for me. Yes, you can accept that you're not always going to be able to have everything be cruelty free and everything being done by only nice people who only do nice things. That's impossible. But if you do specifically hear that someone is doing bad things, maybe don't immediately go to reward that by playing all their stuff and giving them all your money. If someone is doing good, maybe do reward that. Like, just take those sort of things into account when you're making your decisions. You're probably not going to be able to avoid getting all Nestle products. That's probably impossible. But
I hope that I do avoid that. I hope I avoid all of Nestle and Unilever. But then sometimes they have like a sneaky side company that they don't put their thing on, and you don't know. It's so frustrating.
And sometimes
apparently Hades have one of the most ethical development companies. So apparently they're very much anti-crunch, and you work your work hours, and you have good time outside of that. So Hades is apparently a good one.
They have, there might be this company, there might be another one. They literally don't allow you to work overtime. Like, they won't let you access company emails and stuff like off or whatever, because even just allowing people, because a lot of people can't be trusted with themselves, because what happens in a lot of these gaming companies is that they say, oh, any crunch is purely voluntary. We don't force anyone. I mean, no, you don't, but you make it available. You give them like a little bit extra pay, and you trust for their developers' own passion for their own project to they crunch themselves to exhaustion, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. We've talked for so long.
I know. I was trying to wrap it up at the 1 hour mark, but we just kept going.
Yeah. One thing I will say is also, I would always rather that people tried to keep me to task, because sometimes I just don't know about things. So if ever I say something and people are like, no, like I've had DMs before where someone's like, I don't know if you're aware, but you mentioned this, and like you maybe shouldn't say this because of this. And I've been like, oh, thank you. Okay, I didn't know. Like, stuff like that I think is nice. I would always rather that than people just be like, oh my god, she said this, because sometimes you just
sometimes you don't know.
No. Yeah. But then again, it's also not your job to keep everyone to task.
No. Like, one of the things that annoys me is like when something happens and someone goes like, well, I didn't know, so inform me. Well, no, it's not their job to inform you. But on the other hand, if someone says something and it seems to come from a place of ignorance, and I say ignorance and just literally they just don't have the knowledge, it might be better for you to give them that knowledge, because why assume someone is being deliberately malicious and making these decisions on their own, knowing everything? Just informing them and say like, hey man, the thing that you talked about, not that great because this and this and this happened, so here's the information. And then you give them the information, then they can come to their own decision, make their conclusion, and move on from there. Because one thing I find sad is like, say if for some reason someone has managed to completely dodge all of the J.K. Rowling stuff. It's possible. Not everyone lives as online lives as we do. But if it happened, someone just plays it and has fun. And if you see someone playing it, are you immediately going there, wow, that person does not care about, trans people? It's like, you can't immediately assume that. Like, it might be important to let people know, like, hey, J.K. Rowling is a pretty horrible person. She's done this and this and this and this. And then they can make their own decisions. If they then themselves say like, well, I don't care, oh, lol, then okay, then you can make your decisions on the person with that. But if they're operating from a place where they don't know, it's as silly as it seems to us to say like, how can you not have heard about that? It absolutely
is like when you get that horrible feeling when people are like, oh, I'm gonna go and listen to this band, and they're like, oh, and you're like, oh no, what have they done now? Who's done that? Like, I think because of the era that I grew up in, I'm so used to someone mentioning like, oh, this beloved presenter, and they're like, oh, you don't know, and you're like, what now?
You keep hearing things from your youth that have turned out to be horrible, and you're like, shit.
If I ever find out that David Attenborough is a horrible person, I'm just living in the woods. I don't care anymore by that point. I'm gone. He better be nice. For the sake of all of us. He better be a lovely man.
It's hard. Human interaction is so tricky, and there's always something pulling people so many different ways. I think ultimately we have to try to find a way to just live together and do our best to improve the world, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Dear, oh
Right.
dear.
I feel like we've probably reached the end of this, like going all over the place, honestly. We talked about so many things today. So maybe we should play a game.
Yeah. Let's
Do you need
play
to
a game. I'll
reconnect
try
on
to
person?
connect to you.
Yeah.
And turn this music down. I have so many tabs open.
Oh no. Have you been like Googling when we've been talking?
No, I was looking at Etsy before. And I found a t-shirt that says, MILF, man, I love frogs. I really want to get it.
Frogs are cool.
I do love frogs. I do.
All right. Can you control? Yes, you should be able to. I will up the volume a little bit. Then
Beep, 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 beep.
let's get going. Finally. 1 hour, 20 minutes in. Longest just chatting we've ever had. Like 80 minutes of podcast, basically. And this is after recording a podcast earlier today.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. We've just been talking for the last 2 hours or something.
It's pretty crazy.
3.5 hours.
Yeah, that's mad. But yeah, we talked about a lot. For whatever value there is to that. But now I'm gonna try to go into lawyer mode instead. See what we can do. Here we go.
Oh yeah, we did just give that away. Yes, Radiant's own comfort zone again.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, one final rant, because Loboto's just reminded me, because he says starting soon. There's a game on my wish list called Snackoon, where you play as a raccoon who sneaks around and goes through the bins. It says coming soon on Steam. When would you reckon that is coming soon?
I don't know. A few months?
It's December 2025.
That's not soon.
That is not soon. That's basically 3 years away. Because you've got all of 2023, all of 2024, all of 2025, and in the final month, they deign to give the game to us.
Do you think that's just a placeholder date?
It better be, because otherwise I'm angry.
Yeah. Sounds like a cute game, though.
Yeah, I really want to play it. So, to summarize, we lawyered. I don't remember what happened.
There's been a lot of things happening. We're cross-examining Judge Chigoku.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we're now drawing a line underneath all our conversations because we had a lot. We have to get into lawyer mode now. So let's do this. This has been about. Oh yeah, he disposed the body, but he claims that it was someone else who did it. Who killed him? It was Kazuma.
Oh yeah.
Because he was on an assassination mission, which he's already said. I admit it. What is your position? The court awaits your response to the assertion. The assertion that on the 9th question, the victim's assailant was Kazuma. This is the dead end. The answer is right in front of me. Comes down to Jigoku and Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Shigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is impossible. Because I don't know if it's impossible, but I just don't think it is. Now, is it impossible? I'm not sure, but like, I don't know. I mean, it's possible, right? If he was there, but I don't think he did it. Like, because he had the opportunity to do it, right? And he had motive. He was ordered to do it, right? He had the means as well. So it's possible.
No, but he's baby.
See, the thing... he's baby. So the question I have here is like, if we say it's possible, does that mean we're saying he did it? But I don't necessarily think so. I think we can say it's possible, but that he didn't actually do it. So I don't know.
That seems risky.
It is risky, but I feel like it's been done in the past in games like this. But
the word possible looks really weird now. Doesn't look like a proper word.
It's lost this sensation, whatever it's called. What's the thing?
It's semantic satiation.
Yeah, it looks like that's not a word.
Yeah, I'm pretty smart.
Well, I mean, I'm listening to your opinion on this one as well. Like, because I think it is possible, but I don't think he did it, so I kind of want to say impossible.
Yeah. So I guess the thing is, if we say it's impossible, are they going to say prove it? And then I don't think we have any proof that would show that he couldn't have done it. So I guess we do have to say it's possible.
I think it's possible because otherwise he's going to say, like, I'm one step away from proving who.
Yeah. I guess go for it.
We could say it's possible, but yeah. Okay.
We don't think he did.
What if I say it's possible now? They're like, excellent, then he's guilty. Bam, and game over. I hope that's not the case. But
hang him in the court.
Yeah.
Right here, right now.
Well, it is possible, my lord. What? Oh yeah, that's your...
What? How could you?
Do you think I want to believe it? Well, the fact is, I can't say with complete certainty what actually happened because I wasn't there.
You disappoint me, Runosuke. If I may, Mr. Naruhodo. I think perhaps that's why we form opinions based on evidence. Oh.
So true. And actually, we have evidence that can settle this argument conclusively. My lord, the defense would like to present evidence in support of... Oh, I like that. Because it seemed like we were going to get away with it, but no. Before you plow on, feign ignorance of what just occurred, counsel. You must be penalized for that short but embarrassing you uttered a moment ago. I really thought I could just brush past it if I was quick enough.
Never mind the penalty, Mr. Naruhodo. The truth is all that matters.
Judge Shigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. So I guess it is impossible. The right answer was that it was impossible.
Yeah.
So then in that case, the mistake was that I had forgotten that there was one piece of evidence that made it impossible. So, okay.
Yeah.
You claim that logical reasoning is the future of judicial process. It is, no question. Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi-sama? All right.
Okay.
Now I don't know.
It's the armband. Because
He
we're
wouldn't
lawyers.
do it because he's a nice boy. That's what I'm saying.
He's a lovely boy.
What made it impossible for him to be involved? The blade?
But the blade surely makes it more possible because it was in Duda's luggage.
Yeah.
So at some point he must have located the luggage.
I keep wanting to present the sword, but I can't. I don't have a logical reason for why. I love this music.
Just wing it. Just go with your gut.
Okay.
Why not?
Take that!
Oh no!
You're making the evidence weep here, Runosuke Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment.
We wasted enough time. It's clear to me that any further discussion of this case will be fruitless. Barak Van Seeks, I would like to think that however misguided, you acted out of a sense of justice nonetheless. Though it pains me to have reached this conclusion. No! Wait, my lord!
Ooh. How How does it come down to? It was either this guy or this guy, but we can't prove it, so let's just this guy.
Yeah, every time. Honestly, every time. In accordance with the findings of this court, I hereby pronounce the defendant Baraf Van Seeks guilty. That concludes business. Court is adjourned.
No.
He's dead, sorry.
Nope. I'll save him. He can plead the belly.
What?
Can't plead the belly. Plead the belly. Pleading the belly is something that female prisoners used to do because they couldn't hang you if you were pregante. So if you could bribe a doctor to come in and make sure you were pregante, wink, then you would get out of prison.
I see.
You'd get out of your hanging sentence. It's what a famous female pirate did, but I can't remember what her name was. There you go.
All right, so what proves he couldn't have done it?
It was right. I mean, that was in Mary Read. That's the one. Anne Bonny and Mary Read. That was in the fella's case.
Yeah.
But that doesn't prove that I mean, maybe they did it together.
It must have been something that specifically involves Kazuma. Something he was doing or seeing or being at the time it was happened, so he didn't have the...
Because we know he stayed in a guest house, but that doesn't help us.
Yeah. Because we're saying that, like, the body was taken back. And obviously, like, there was sword strikes on this one, right? But it's like, that could have happened when he was trying to get killed, so... I mean... Okay.
You're okay.
So the sword... the sword was somehow struck into the trunk.
Yeah, but at what time did that happen and why?
Yeah, because the trunk was found at the crime scene. We are theorizing that the trunk was brought to the crime scene with him inside it, right? While he was already dead.
Yeah.
Which meant that if that theory holds true, then the sword happened in that place, and that's where the murder was taking place. But we're trying to change that around now, I guess. We're trying to say that, like... Well, it wasn't the sword, sadly, but, like... The idea that, like, it wasn't the Sogi and instead it has to be Jigoku. Wait, can we... Where's our picture? I was hoping I would see, like, if there was, like, a slash or thing on the thing, but I can't see it. Would there be a slash? It's on the side where the sign is.
Well, that's a different trunk. That's Gregson's trunk.
It is a different trunk. Yeah, you're right.
But I don't know why Kazuma was trying to get into it.
Didn't we say that this is where Gregson was?
But that's Jigoku's trunk. That's the big one that we found him in.
So why is there then a slash on this one?
I don't know why he was trying to get into that. Or why he would have attacked it. Or why it has the blood.
Why is this bleeding and why is there a slash in it?
Yeah.
Because this is not where Gregson was kept. Like, even he's not that small.
That's where his chips were kept.
Yeah.
They put him in the big one and his fish and chips in the little one.
Yes, that's what they did. I just keep feeling like there's gotta be something with this.
Like, why would he...
Why would he slash this? What? Because if Gregson's trunk, why would he go and slash this if it was at the scene? If he was already dead? I'm presenting this. Fuck's sake. I thought I was onto something. Wasn't. Never mind the evidence. You're about to make me weep, Nusunahodo. Oh no, I can't upset Suzato-san. I'll end up being upset too. No member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first class happens nearly all the time. So as long as the guard was there, it would have been impossible to fire a shot without being heard. That very much narrows down when the crime would have taken place. Well, we know there was a drill.
So
but
what time was
does that connect to anything? So the drill was at 10 p.m. Between 10 p.m. and 20 minutes. Can we figure out a thing that he was doing during that time?
What's the time? Oh no, the time on the clock is 5, isn't it?
There's nothing exciting here. Yeah, that was just 5. What? How did we don't know anything? What Kazumi was doing?
What's the time on the? Does it say anything on the ticket?
This one?
Yeah.
No time, just a date.
I don't know. I don't know. In conclusion, I'm confused.
Yeah. This itinerary, I mean, that's the only thing it could make, right? That, like, he couldn't, this is the only connection. Now, I'll admit, I don't know why this is the proof. Like, I was like, because he just said, like, well, he couldn't have been because of the thing, so therefore, blah, 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 blah. But I don't know how this is proof. This itinerary for the crew members of the SS Grousman Lord, this is conclusive proof. An itinerary? How does that prove anything? Judge Shigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant. What? Why? On the night in question, as always, a crewman sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. Yeah, so between 10 and 10:20. But how do we know where he was? This is where I'm not making the connection. Like,
yeah, because we don't know where he went.
I could see how this was the first part of the reasoning. Like, well, it had to have been during this. And then the connection we're trying to make now is like, okay, well, during that time, Kazuma couldn't do it because reason. And that reason I don't have. Seems like Ryunosuke had the reason, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary. Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far. But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Oh, and he stayed in a guest house in Dunkirk.
31st of October.
Following departure from the point of Dunkirk.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, he could have lied, though. Do we have any proofs that he wasn't on the ship? I don't think we do, right?
No, just his word.
Yeah. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Sogi stated in yesterday's proceedings,
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. Spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
So the thing is, to me, this... Yeah, but he could have lied, though. That's my response to that, really. Like, yeah, if that's true, great, but he could have lied. So I guess now, at this point, we were like, can we get proof that you were, in fact, at the boarding house?
Yeah, can we get the guest book?
Yeah. which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof. Well, it's no proof yet. We don't have proof that he just wasn't lying. That's where I disagree with where the game is going. Because to me, this could just be like, well, he just lied. And then that would be the opposite to this entire plan. Because if we assume he was telling the truth, then checks out. But it's very easy to just lie and say like, oh no, I wasn't there. That Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. Yeah. Yarg. Hold it. No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all. What do you mean? The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby in the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and... No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book.
Did you say that yesterday? You said you stayed there. I don't remember what you were saying, but yeah, anyway. But again, this is separate proof that we didn't have. This feels like we presented part of an argument, and we're now using this as like, and because of that, this is true. Like if we had the proof, like, so I think how this should have been phrased is like, aha, there's still a chance that he wasn't there. He claimed he was there. Can we get proof of that? Because if so, that means he wasn't there. And then you double check.
Yeah.
I think phrasing it as like, it's impossible because was like, well, he could have lied. So, yeah.
All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof.
No, There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it, Sashiro Jigoku? It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all of this began.
Ooh.
Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. Ah! Oh, Jesus.
Oh my gosh!
It's over. My life is over.
Angie.
British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan, a Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement, because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place. That left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So I enlisted the help of my British counterparts and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. Lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. What? Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
Ah.
So that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterparts.
Because he sat in the judge's seat.
Indeed. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. It was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
When I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting. For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock, I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move.
Bang. Yeah.
I'd received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a judiciary as a visiting student. There we go. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So the revolver belongs to you, does it? And then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse, which begs the question: why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street? The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room. And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police. I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule.
Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification. I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit, so I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk. That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then. Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. Can't really tell. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers. It was Venus, of course. I conceived of the candle trick there and then, so I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate the gunshot.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case, so I put that on. Although I suspect I drew more attention to myself than that than whatever it was.
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
I only arrived at the room at around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder. What was that?
I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips.
Huh? He didn't notice it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to a refrigeration room. Put it back into his pocket the following morning, but, well, seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
Being sent back home to Japan with immunity? An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us. Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though, as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again.
What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it.
I don't understand. If the whole plan was that if they did a murder there, they'd be sent back home, why will he not just be sent home? Because wasn't that the original, like, immunity?
Well, yeah, but I guess immunity can only get you so far. But, I mean, I don't know. Giselle Brett managed to avoid it, even though we proved she did it the first time.
Yeah.
Maybe... Because diplomatic immunity on its own, I don't think prevents you from any crime. I think it's more like in the particular place you are, like you're extradited and you get taken to the court of your homeland instead, basically.
But
it was meant to be
judge.
Kasuma. Yeah, sure, yeah, but like, you know, it wasn't. Jigoku is still from another country. He should still have diplomatic immunity, you know? Yeah. Unless it's just because he's just a visitor now, and that's different than an exchange student. But I don't see how that would change things, really. So,
yeah,
I'm not certain on the whole idea of like, just because from they're another country, they bypass any sort of punishment. But Giselle Brett lasted a full game without getting caught. She was out and about on a beach. Though to be fair, she was being watched with like agents and stuff. So.
Was she meant to be like on her way back when she was killed, or was she just having a jolly?
It might have been. I don't remember the exact details. I do think maybe. I think the idea of diplomatic immunity isn't you are cleared from all crimes, but more like a crime you do over there, you'll still be tried in your home country. So the idea being like, if we send the Japanese kid to England, he does the thing there. He probably won't get caught, but if he does get caught, we'll bring him back and we will deal with him in Japan, and then they'll give him less of a punishment or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us is admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
Oh, I didn't want it to be him.
No, me either. Sashiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found. I thought we were gonna have another trial for him, didn't he? The man will be tried soon. This specifically is a trial for Bearman Zeeks. There should be a second trial for him. It's kind of all blending together now. And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Like this court should end in Zeke's becoming not guilty.
Yeah.
I don't think this is over yet. I think we have stuff we still have to get after him. So, yeah. Anyway. Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Yay.
Kazuma can't be happy because his entire goal was finding out who the Reaper was. And he was so sure it was Van Zeeks. And now we still don't have Van Zeeks. And we still don't have the Reaper. I mean, we're all pretty certain it's Strongheart who's the Reaper, but yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Narrowhose.
I don't know, Susato, I'm not happy. Yeah, thank you.
Is something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence. The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange, we do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion.
I have every... Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's you, isn't it?
Well, I mean, to be fair, you've not done a lot of voices recently, so... you can go back to it if you want, or I can do it. It's up to you.
You do it.
Okay. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now for the formal adjudication. Hold it! I hereby declare the defendant Barak Van Zieks.
Objection!
I knew it. I knew it. Kazuma. I knew that, of course.
The prosecution calls for an adjudication to be deferred.
Counsel?
The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
What?
But Judge Jigoku has already signed confessed. Signed confessed. Has already confessed. Nevertheless, Barak Van Zieks has committed crimes for which he must be punished.
Has he? Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi.
Certainly. The murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Sashiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but...
So, what I want to know is who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself.
Well, certainly. That would appear to follow.
The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barak Van Zieks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
What?
I didn't think you could do that.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, I don't know.
I thought you're only tried for the crime that you're tried for, and you can't try for other things.
If you want to try a different trial now, we need an actual crime that he's done. Because this was the trial of has Baron Van Zieks killed Gregson? And we came to the conclusion, no. All right, fine. If you now have other crimes you wish to accuse him of, let's do that.
You gotta start the process again.
Yeah. Order, order, order. The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zieks very thoroughly in that regard. And they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper. Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here.
I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name.
You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Kazuma's silence before. We'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago. Very well. Whilst it is extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange.
I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely.
Kiss ass. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing.
Ooh, supper.
Ooh, airing. Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Seeks, I first had to suffer the pseudonym of Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of the implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all.
Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zeeks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusations brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey.
And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is so emotional at the moment, he's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself. But I knew it would be like this. I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer, and as his friend.
Then that's what we must do.
The defense has no objection, my lord. Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. As you wish, my lord. The Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. It's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there's no reason to suspect me of being behind the Assassin Exchange. So you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the Assassin Exchange. Acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy, which I alone am in a position to forswear.
Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue. Runosuke Naruhodo.
Yes?
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
A desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said.
Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness. Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you've convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony.
This is a weird one, because surely his defense lawyer would just be like, did you do it? And he'd be like, no. We'd be like, cool, no doubt.
Cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is weird, honestly.
Hold it!
So you're not what the general public refer to as the infamous Reaper of the Bailey? Exactly.
Don't imagine for a moment that the court will be satisfied with a one-word answer on this.
I realize that. You're intending to comment on every sentence. This could take a while, Casimir. Didn't you find it disturbing, though, that one by one, defendants who'd been acquitted after your unsuccessful prosecution were killed? Let me answer that question by posing another. If, one by one, defendants who'd been acquitted after your successful defense were killed, would you find that disturbing? Disturbing? I couldn't possibly say how that would make me feel with a one-word answer like that. Exactly. Well, that told me. But even though I'm not the Reaper, that doesn't mean I ignored all the hearsay.
Hold it!
You say for years. How long exactly? Since the very first time the Reaper's influence was felt in this courtroom. 10 years ago now. And your investigation led you somehow to Inspector Gregson, you're saying? Didn't want to believe it. He was a personal acquaintance. We'd worked on cases together in the past. Friend, even. It felt like a betrayal, but I demanded permission to search his office at the Yard without his knowledge.
Which is when you found his secret notebook, is it?
It's when I first learned of the location, he noted only as Grouse and the appointment at 5 p.m. on the 31st. I didn't know the significance of these details at the time. So now we're at the nub of the matter. As it turns out, the significance for me personally was very unfortunate. God, we're only on one penalty point remaining.
Jeez.
But why did you go to that specific location? I thought that it was the Reaper's headquarters. Then by turning up there at 5 o'clock, I would catch whoever was involved red-handed. Instead, they were red-headed. Sadly, all that was awaiting me was the inspector's corpse. Yes, even though it wasn't designed for you, you walked straight into the trap set by Jigoku. Yeah, he wanted to frame Daily Vigil, Hugh Boone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jigoku had intended to implicate Hugh Boone, but unhappily for me, I arrived at the scene first.
Ha! A ridiculously careless blunder.
Moved on to just throwing insults around, I see then, Kazuma? Think what you will, it doesn't change the truth. I bet you this is the sentence we're supposed to object to.
Hold it!
Yeah.
There is a link between you and Gregson, though. Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. Considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons. He did? Such as what? Where to buy good fish and chips? And such like. Well, that was convincing. Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university. That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yume University in Tokyo. It should be unambiguously clear, then, that no link exists between myself and him. In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man. It sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. But something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me.
Is it going to be something like Dr. Wilson did the autopsy for his brother or something like that? Or do we know who did that?
Yeah, I think we have it, actually. Somewhere. Clint Otter report, Dr. John H. Wilson.
Ah.
So I think that's the link. Sorry,
Yeah.
There is a link between you, bam.
Yeah.
We'll finish this up first, then. Certainly as it stands, there's no evidence to suggest that you concocted the scheme.
Objection!
But as it stands, we have only the accused's insistence of his innocence.
Sorry?
Perhaps there is some reason that would explain why he masterminded the assassin exchange. And if a reason could be established later in these proceedings, then the accused claim in this testimony that he wasn't involved would amount to perjury.
I mean, why would I... Okay, why is my job to free him? So why would I try to do it? However, I think that's what Kazuma's doing. Is like, are you here for the truth? Even if it looks bad, you're here for the truth. And I've been like, well, it's always going to be the truth. So that's probably what he's like relying on. Like, I trust Ryunosuke to be the truthful man, even if he gets his client into trouble. Because Kazuma is like, I'm right for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yes, that's true, but...
Clearly Kazuma-sama intends to identify a reason and use it to make his case.
So if we don't identify something first...
He'll gain the advantage.
Why would he have the advantage? Just because he said it?
Yeah.
This could be dangerous. Convincing testimony by Lord Van Zieks.
Certainly. With no apparent connection between the three men, there's no way to establish a motive. The testimony seems unsaleable, as far as I can see. Oh dear me, what a bleak expression.
I agree. There doesn't appear to be any particular link between them at first glance. But with the inclusion of one other person... I must be overthinking it. Yeah, because it's more than one link together. Like, I can show... See? Clint! But then I can also show... this picture. Clint, then them as a connection, that brings Wilson into it because of Clint's death.
Another person, Mr. Naruhodo.
I need to think back over all the information we've gleaned so far.
All right, and I'll review my notes about the case and all the evidence in the court record.
Could it be that Lord Van Zieks has something to hide after all? All right. Clint's autopsy.
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zieks.
Yeah, we just carry it around. It's not weird.
My brother's autopsy report?
I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth. Mutter, 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 mutter.
Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, counsel?
It is weird.
Yeah. Hey, this thing was 10 years ago. This, the autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant. Not that accursed name again, the professor.
I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victim's soul. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zieks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure. And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. True. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed. That was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zieks here to avenge his brother's senseless death with a marvelous victory in court.
A marvelous victory, was it? I wonder if that's really true.
What?
Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated? If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together...
They were colluding.
The inspector is colluding!
The inspector was colluding! Oh no! All the inspector and the coroner and the prosecutor colluded! They're just like women!
To cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death.
That's outrageous.
And now, 10 years later, for some reason, the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced. Isn't it? By someone in power in Japan and in Britain. 2 killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Oh, using the 2 killers recruited for the assassin exchange.
Order! Order at once!
10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain. Whatever the cost.
Time to break you another one. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nepalese tenacity of purpose here. However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer. Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence.
What?
As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Sashiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth.
What truth?
The truth about the evidence. And he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. There's a closely guarded secret about what went on in an autopsy 10 years ago.
What? A secret? I know nothing of any secrets.
While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes. He very quickly understood what my true motive was. I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you? And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it? That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all. Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick. So you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated. It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders. Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak! I'm not saying another word. Even if your life depends on it. That's right. Even then. Ching!
So that's when the tip of the sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
Why are you feeling bad for him?
If the result of Clint Van Ziek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer Gregson and the lead coroner Wilson must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to I went to say pervert,
Prevent.
and I was like, no, it must say prevent, and then I was like, no, it does say pervert.
It does say pervert, yeah.
To pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barak Van Zieks.
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So his evidence is the man that he was sent to kill, giving him a vague testimony under threat of him killing him with a sword.
Yeah, that's...
I see no problem with this.
I see no problem with this evidence. That seems fine. You saying that the man you went to kill mentioned vaguely it, and now he's dead, so we can't corroborate this. But this is fine. This is clear, compelling evidence. Meanwhile, I have to empty my giant backpack full of trash I found to specifically prove even the slightest thing. And Kazuma can just say, like, "Wow, he said it though.
He told me.
I heard him say it. That's it. That's the evidence. I heard him say it."
Okay.
And we're like, all right, okay, that's it.
Can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barak van Zieks.
That is annoying that they agree with that. Like, please say something. Just Van Zieks just say, like, "Don't be foolish. Are we supposed to believe your word on this?" Because that's literally it. Multiple things right now have said, like, "Oh, we just got to believe their words for it." We didn't even go check the book. I mean, because Jigoku basically just couldn't confess before we had to, you know? Because he probably knew it was true. But, like, we just keep agreeing with things. Kazuma Asogi.
What?
What you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for the trial 10 years ago?
I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission.
In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper.
Oh. What?
Lord Van Zieks?
No, that's not his name. We're trying to establish that.
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one. If Lord Van Zieks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is too.
The bit at the end of the Royal Rumble where there's like 3 or 4 of them left and they all just stand still for a bit and look at each other.
Yeah.
I just imagine this is like that, but they're just all going to turn around and look at the judge.
Just
turn to Strongheart like...
They're pointing at the WrestleMania sign. That's literally what they're doing right now. Everyone just starts pointing. I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is...
Gina Lestrade.
Sherlock Holmes. I gotta quickly go pee. I'll be back in a minute or two.
Oh, I'm gonna go pee too.
Don't do it. Wait for me, baby.
Okay. BRB too. Wait, I'll give you bun cam must I? The music's too intense. Cow. You. Oh, a boy. You are in charge. BRB. Hello.
Hello, I'm back.
Hiya.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we said, literally like in the second case of the game, the second we saw Male Strongheart, we were like, there's the villain. For sure, we knew immediately.
For sure.
For sure. All right, here we go.
Take that!
It's going to be very awkward.
Yes. It's going to be a little bit weird. The only person who could have arranged the assassin exchange and manipulated the autopsy results is Lord Chief Justice himself, Lord Male Strongheart.
What? Lord Strongheart?
Yes, it's true that 10 years ago the defendant handled the prosecution of the professor in court. But he only took over the case after his brother, Lord Clint Van Seeks, had been killed. I can only assume that this is the most inappropriate joke in British judicial history. Well, Lord Van Seeks, 10 years ago, I was very new to my profession. But I had a burning desire to avenge my brother's death, so I pleaded for control of the case. The investigation to that point, supplication of the lords to allow my brother's corpse to be examined, all the evidence I was given, the autopsy reports, it all came from you. I've spent my life since then believing I was in your debt for the way you stood aside and let me handle the trial. But I see now. I was very much mistaken. It was a hugely influential force that caused the inspector and the coroner to break the law 10 years ago. And that same force was still felt a decade later on the other side of the world, Sashiro Jigoku. Lord Strongheart, everything falls into place when we recognize that you are the Reaper of the Bailey.
Mata, 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 mata.
One final time. The court awaits your response, my lord. This may very well go down in British judicial history, but I assure you, it is no joke. Consider this a formal accusal by the defense.
He's just going to be like, well, I find myself not guilty, so
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
It doesn't warrant a response. A formal accusal? Don't be absurd. The defense's claims are utter nonsense, a wild fantasy at best. You're not going to defend yourself? You claim there was some wrongdoing with Lord Clint Van Seeks' autopsy? That's utterly untrue.
Objection!
But I heard it from Gregson's own lips. He admitted to it.
And where is your evidence? Thank you. I mean, you're the bad guy now, so it's not good. But also, yes. I mean,
all of a sudden, the prosecution needs evidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, now evidence is important. It was fine before. And where is your evidence?
What?
Gregson's dead now, unless you were thinking of summoning a ghost to the stand.
You mean to say?
I forget how the system works in your little backwater country.
Oh, here he goes.
Here we go. He's racist too. But in the courts of the British Empire, without evidence, there is no case. I have no intention of entertaining some wild fantasy that can't possibly be substantiated by anyone or anything.
Ah! Arg. Arg.
Order in court. Following Inspector Gregson's murder, and in the light of Dr. Wilson's death as well, there's really no one left who could testify about the events of 10 years ago, is there? So that was the real purpose of the assassin exchange. This court has no business raking over the coals of a case that was concluded a decade ago. The accusal brought by the prosecution and the defense is categorically denied.
Wow.
I take it there are no objections.
Little bit of objection.
It's more or less waited his whole life for this moment. Is there really nothing else we can do now? Is there no other avenue we can go down in pursuit of the truth about what happened all those years ago? If only there was someone who could testify about Clint Van Seeks' autopsy. There is someone. Can't Mikatoba do it? Wasn't Mikotoba there as well?
Wasn't it him that did it? Because wasn't it his handwriting?
Yeah,
no.
exactly.
Yes?
No, yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
He's gone to extraordinary lengths to cover his tracks, even as far as dispatching an assassin all the way to Japan to ensure Dr. Wilson's silence. And Dr. Scythe won't say anything against Strongheart. But there's still one ray of hope.
Objection.
Because Mikotoba went there with Jigoku back in the day. He was like an assistant, and he worked with Dr. Wilson, right? So that was the whole thing. Yeah. Actually, there is one person. One person who could still testify about that autopsy. Don't be ridiculous. There's no one left.
Wow, that's not a suspicious way to word that at all.
What do you mean? This is, I killed all. I mean, I've dealt with. I mean, there's no one.
Who, Runosuke? Who? Tell me.
Kazuma,
Please, this trial can't end. Not yet.
I'm not doing this for you.
You big stinky boo-boo.
I'm doing it for the truth. The person the defense would like to call to the stand to testify about the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Seeks is...
Take that!
Heaven help us. Another Japanese. Oh my God.
Wow. Read the room, my dude.
Yeah. An expert in forensic medicine, my lord. Professor Jujin Mikotoba. 16 years ago, he came to London with Sashiro Jigoku and Genshin Asogi as a visiting student. And what could his testimony possibly tell us?
Professor Mikotoba was the primary assistant during the autopsy in question. He was also the person who actually penned the report.
Incorrect.
And my daddy.
The autopsy was carried out by the coroner, Dr. Wilson. The report carries his signature.
It was the primary assistant's duty to keep a written record of the coroner's work during the procedure. In actual fact, the coroner merely read over the report at the end and signed it.
In other words, Professor Mikotoba witnessed the entire autopsies from start to finish. The defense demands that Professor Mikotoba be summoned as a witness as a matter of urgency. Whatever really happened in that autopsy laboratory 10 years ago is something only he can tell us. The defense demand is denied. What?
What? But Professor Mikotoba is in London at this very moment. We could summon him to the stand in minutes.
Of course he's not going to agree to it. Strongheart has no intention of summoning anyone who knows. He's too concerned about protecting himself.
I love the idea, though, that Mikotoba comes in and they're catching him up and he's like, wait, you were paid assassin? The judge did what?
I'm sorry, hold on. And Jigoku did, but we were literally just...
What happened in here?
And Wilson? He was
the body was in the case?
And you stabbed with the thing. What? Just like so much things out of nowhere.
That.
Prosecutor Asogi, let me refresh your memory as you seem to have forgotten the prosecution's stance. Only minutes ago, you accused the defendant of being the Reaper and of masterminding the assassin exchange.
I did, yes.
So, present your evidence for those claims and make your case complete.
At this time, I don't have the requisite evidence, but that's exactly why we need the witness testimony.
The professor case is closed. There are no clues from the distant past that will bolster your argument today. I'm afraid to say, Prosecutor Asogi, that you would appear to be possessed by the spirit of your late homicidal father.
Oh, that's mean.
Now, as I stated earlier, this court has already reached a conclusion with respect to the matter at hand. Inspector Gregson was murdered by Japanese Supreme Court Judge Seshiro Jigoku. As for any hidden circumstances that may exist, they'll be investigated in due course by the proper authorities. But we all know what will happen. They'll just give the mastermind of the whole venture time to cover his tracks again. By which you mean me. Your punishment for this contemptible behavior will be decided at a later date. As for you, Prosecutor Asogi, you will be remanded following these proceedings. Willingly, I trust, since you gave your word.
Ah.
This futile game of revenge is over, young Master Asogi.
Grr. Oh, ah. A water bottle.
Water bottle. That will be all. I hereby declare this trial to be over. Cordis, hold it.
Oh. 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 What?
Why does Sholmes keep showing up? I wish there. Okay, Sholmes is great, but I wish he was a little bit less of a Deus Ex Machina, just arriving and solving everything out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit annoyed at this like magic conclusions. It's yeah. This is no place for an amateur detection, Mr. Sholmes. May I remind you that these proceedings are closed to the general public. You will leave the courtroom at once. Mr. Sholmes was instrumental in the apprehension of Seshiro Jigoku before he fled from Europe. The court should hear what he has to say. Lord Maelstrom. Oh yeah, you're doing the voice. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, go.
Strongheart.
I'm Mikotoba and you're Sholmes.
It's imperative that you refrain from bringing this trial to an end at this stage.
Is it really? And why would that be?
You need only recall your own words from the opening of the trial to answer that question, if I may.
I just find it less satisfying for like a third party show. I understand like, aha, it's a twist and he's the guy that knows, but it feels a little bit Deus Ex Machina just arriving out of nowhere. Like in the earliest Phoenix Wright cases, like there's a character that basically always comes up with the one final thing to help you. But gradually as you go on and further, ultimately it's Phoenix who comes up with the final idea. It's Phoenix who fixes everything ultimately. And in this case, I wanted Ryunosuke or Susato to be the ones to like, well, I wanted Ryunosuke to do it because Ryunosuke is who you're playing. I wanted him to be able to like figure out, aha, and not just be saved again by magic super detective that arrived out of nowhere and secretly knew everything from the very beginning and was involved in everything, etc., etc., etc. That's a little bit less satisfying.
Yeah. We will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings. Surely it can't be that the shock of being accused of being the Reaper yourself has erased that from your memory, can it?
The whole truth, sir, has already been uncovered.
It would seem that we have a great many important members of the judiciary present here today. I put it to you, my dear fellows, should the trial end at this juncture? After all, why have you been invited to attend? To nod along to the prevarications of your superiors?
Oh yeah, I love Sholmes. I think he's great. I'm happy he's in the game. But it's just some plot elements, and I wish that he didn't always come through with the final perfect save every time, you know? I kind of liked him when he was a little bit of an idiot and had these weird things like, this is the king of Germany who's fallen asleep. Even though you obviously know it's Mikotoba. You've worked with him for years, and still, you're like, this guy is clearly, like, German, and that's why we have to, like, correct you. That's the Sherlock Holmes I like the most, when he's being a little bit weird. He decides to like change his hair to red by drinking some weird thing rather than dyeing it. I do like that he's smart and helps out in cases, but in an important moment like this, I think he would have been a little bit better if it wasn't he that came around to save us. Though it feels like he's not gonna come in with the perfect solution, but it looks like the building up, he at least is gonna stop the case from ending immediately, which is something.
Yeah. It seems to me that we stand before a door that leads to a new era of legal practices. A door that is ajar.
When it's a door, not a door. When it is ajar.
When it's ajar. Let us emerge from the shadows of the Reaper's decade-long ascendancy. For you and you alone, my dear fellows, have the power to push this door open now.
The auditors in the gallery have no rights to express an opinion on court proceedings. Silence! He's right. The judge has absolute authority here.
Yes, and if he calls the trial to an end, it must end.
But what will that really do?
I sense dark things occurring behind the scenes.
Dark things indeed.
Dark things indeed.
Is
I
there a
thought we were
single
getting
person
free
here
lunch.
Yeah, I was hoping that I'd get paid for this.
I was told there'd be sandwiches. Where are they?
What? What? The trial should go on. Summon the witness.
That's right. And more sandwiches. For all of us.
Many sandwiches.
And crisps.
My lord, you assured those present that you would uncover the whole truth here.
Vindicate yourself with this outlandish accusation.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The very foundation of British law. A toast to my dependable colleagues in the gallery. Testify. Testify.
Testify. Well, my lord, you hear the voice of British justice, I take it? I think you'll find it will be rather awkward to silence.
The court will recess briefly. I have no intention of shrinking from these allegations. Bailiff, arrange for the subpoena of the witness at once. As soon as the gentleman arrives at the courthouse, we shall reconvene.
A recess won't be necessary, my lord.
Pardon?
Mikotober is a close friend of mine. He accompanied me today and is waiting in the antechamber as we speak.
So what I would have preferred here, actually, is almost the same. Just have it be like, rather than he's like, and we are shutting down this trial. Then just have naturally the voices in the crowd start going, wait, what? Really? Are they going to cancel it? But we said we were going to do it. And then that'll happen like on its own, naturally. Testify. And then he goes, fine then. I shall make care that he comes in. And then Sherlock Holmes is like, but actually, he's right here. I think that would have been cool. Like, it was like, aha. Sholmes foresaw this happening and had him with him. I think it's a little bit much that he came in here in the nick of time and he spurred the crowd to doing it. There's like just a small change to still make it feel more natural rather than Sherlock comes in to solve everything again. Or even better, Naruhodo saying it, just being like, is this really what we're doing? Like he has a long speech and then the crowd goes, yeah, he's right. Yeah, like something like that, rather than Sherlock Holmes, you know.
I would have liked it if every time it cut back to Strongheart, he's like putting on his coat, slowly walking towards the door, like
walking. We're done.
Oh no, we'll carry on. Sure thing. Okay, I'll just be. You just hear like.
Yeah, because I think the implication would be like, all right, we'll have a short recess while we find Mikotoba. The implication being like, I'm going to go kill him right now so that we cannot hear his testimony, so that he would have a chance. The implication would be like, oh no, if he gets to him first, there'll be no testimony and he still wins. And then Sherlock's like, actually, he's already here. Because that's the case. We're like, aha, Holmes foresaw this. And that I would be happy with.
We'll have a short recess to murder the witness. Summon the witness.
Summon the witness. Not murder.
To smother the witness.
If he happens to be dead, then that's unlucky, I guess. But summon,
it was like this when I found him.
Yes, I found him dead. I just... The bloody knife in my hand, you say? That was just on him. I found it on him. I see.
That's jam. From the jar earlier.
That I had for lunch. We didn't get any jams. Anyway, let's keep moving.
I do believe... What? Professor Mikotober is here in the courthouse?
Mr. Sholmes, you didn't know this would happen, did you?
My dear fellows, no one is a better position to answer that question than you, surely.
I wasn't just asking for the fun of it, you know. Well, I must thank you for your assistance in this matter, Mr. Sholmes. However, you are of no further use here. Kindly leave the courtroom at once.
Oh, but of course, in truth, I find myself rather busy now as a result of these developments. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
I trust you have Iris's little lucky charm with you.
Absolutely. It's still in my pockets.
She sends her regards and a reminder. If you find yourself at a dead end, the ears are at your disposal. Just one tug, if you please.
Of course. I don't want to have to pull the bunny ears. I want to figure it out on my own. It's the last case. I don't want any more help.
Yeah.
In that case, the trial will continue without delay. Bailiff, show the witness to the stand. It was Lord Strongheart. He's the Reaper of the Bailey. Where exactly is this trial going to take me, I wonder? Just how deep am I about to be plunged into the blackness of the abyss? Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to head into the heart of this maelstrom and confront whatever horrors it tries to drown me under.
Maelstrom heart.
To be continued.
Oh, it's like... It's only 10 to 5, but this also feels like a good, like...
Yeah, I know the
last chunk is like a good chunk to do at the end, but we've hardly done anything.
I know we've only done so little because we've done so much on talking, but what adds to this as well, I have a laundry time, so like I have that as well. But we've barely done anything this week because we spent so much time talking. So I feel really guilty about. Oh shit, that's a side step. I didn't mean to jump right into it. It just happened right after I saved. So
Carl or Alistair, is this a good chunk of last stream to leave?
Like how much
now?
is left? Like, because that's the thing, right? If it's only an hour, then we might as well go on. But it feels like we're about to head into a pretty big thing.
Carl says there is a lot left.
Oh, okay. Because Inchia just said there's not much left. So now I'm confused.
Malad says there's a ton left.
There's a ton left. Okay.
It's getting bigger.
It's now increasing. Realistically, given our... So, normal time for our streams, we talk for between 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes less, usually not less, and then we play for about 3 hours-ish. That's normally our time. We could probably extend that to 4 hours, maybe even 4.5, if we're about to hit the end.
There's an hour left, plus or minus 6 hours. Thank you.
Very helpful. I feel bad calling it the stream already because like we spend so much time just talking. So we spend 1 hour 20 minutes talking and then 1 hour 30 minutes playing. It feels like
everything is perfectly balanced as it should be.
But if there's still a solid chunk left, which people say there are, that might literally be the best way to do it. I can go get my laundry done without having to reschedule again, which I already did. And this is a good time, and we can go right into the very end.
Okay.
And apologies to people who wanted a longer stream. Particularly apologies to those who were really hyped to see more of the game, only to get 80 minutes of me and Briony talking. Like, I'm sorry, but we will make it up to you next week. Next week, we will finish. We will 100% finish. We'll be doing a stream
without Kirsty tomorrow. That'll just be in us.
That's true.
Finally managed to get rid of Kirsty.
Yeah, took a long time we managed. There is a possibility, but like that's the stream we were doing on the Yogscast channel, right? So it would be probably weird for all those people to pop in and suddenly see the last bit of this, you know? I think that'll probably be a bit weird.
What are we doing tomorrow? Are we doing Blanc or are we doing Power Wash?
I was just thinking Power Wash.
Okay.
You can just have a chill chatty time, and
nice.
You can ask me questions about Minecraft lore, and we can talk about it and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I can't help but feel a little bit guilty for talking so long and then only ending up doing this little. But that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to call it there early, very early. But next week, for sure, we will finish the game. Next week will be the 100% finished game. We will talk less. I will keep it in mind and talk less. Max half an hour of chat. Max. And then we will go into the game and we will finish it.
Max. Yes.
So this will be on the 23rd, the final episode of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. You know you won't talk less. I'm gonna try, damn you. I'm gonna try to talk less. Because I shouldn't apologize for doing something I think is really fun. And I honestly love our chats. I think they're great. But I can't help but feel a little bit guilty to people who are coming here to watch us play games. Because we don't have... The annoying thing for them is that we don't even have a set time for when we talk. If we just had, we always talk for an hour, and boom. Then people who didn't want to listen to us could just show up. Because we alternate. So if people pop in like, oh, they've already played for 20 minutes. Or like, they show up and like, are they still talking? So yeah. But
whereas I feel sorry for the people who they turn up to see us chatting and then we start playing a game. And they're like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. The podcast is the best part. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll be back with this next week and we will finish. Promise. Pinky promise. I'm pinky promising myself. We'll finish. We'll see the end of the storyline as it gone all the way here. We're about to ask questions from Dr. Scythe, Vantiques, and Mikatoba. And we're about to finally put the Reaper behind bars. But we will have some podcast chat as well because, that's just what we do. Tomorrow...
just going to send you this.
Okay.
It's not relevant to anything. I just saw it.
Okay, that was kind of funny. Why did you randomly see that? Like in the middle of a stream?
One of my mods sent it to me.
Okay.
This is how I know that they're intently watching the stream right now.
Yeah, they're not like browsing memes or anything. Anyway, tomorrow we'll be on the Ogscast channel. Just chilling. If you guys like podcast chat with us, that's going to be good for tomorrow. We're going to be doing some power washing and chatting whatever on the Ogscast stream, so that should be really fun. And then next week, Thursday, we'll be back and we'll be finishing this case and series once and for all. So have a lovely time until then, and we'll see you. Goodbye, everyone.
Nice.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Kirsty's streaming, right? I think. Yeah. Let's go ahead and raid Kirsty. She's fantasying, I think. Excellent. She hasn't started yet, I don't think. Or maybe she isn't that now, but she is streaming anyway. Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely time. I will see you when I see you. If you didn't know, I think I mentioned it a few times, but if you don't know, oh, come on. It won't let me raid. Hold on. Let me go in there on my own stream and raid it from the website. If you've missed it, I've been playing Hitman Freelancer on YouTube. So go check that out. Because I think you'll enjoy it. The VODs are on the channel. That should be fun. I've had a great time. I will see the rest of you when I see you. And have a great time. Power wash and chat with Briony tomorrow. Streams next week. Back on YouTube. Probably Wednesday or Tuesday. Back on this on Thursday. And yeah, that's next week. Have a lovely time, everyone. See you around.